This is 7 Sydney Afternoon News with Anne Sanders.
First at 4, good afternoon. The ill-fated Ruby Princess has docked at its new temporary home south of Sydney. The ship now the focus of a criminal investigation. More on that shortly. As we look at the latest numbers in the fight against coronavirus, overnight a further 2 deaths were recorded in New South Wales. 18 lives have now been lost across the state. The number of new cases dropped to 57, but we're being reminded that less testing takes place over the weekend. Let's go live to Chief Reporter Chris Reason. Good afternoon, Chris. The Ruby Princess is currently in Port Kembla, but what's the plan from here?
Good afternoon to you. And yeah, she docked this morning with 10,040 crew on board from 50 different countries. The plan now, no one getting off, but people are getting on, Australian Border Force officials and New South Wales health officials as well, to try and get an accurate picture of how many of that crew could potentially be infected with coronavirus. And what they plan to do is separate those that are not and give them 10 days in isolation before they are allowed to steadily make their way off the ship, and then they plan to repatriate them back to their homelands. They come from 50 different countries, and the government at this stage is talking about charter flights to get some of them home. Now, there was a lot of angst and anguish this morning in and around Port Kembla. A lot of locals that did not want to see that ship pull into their area, worried that the coronavirus might leach off the ship in some way, or indeed if passengers have to be taken off the ship and put into their hospitals, that it would overwhelm the local hospital system. Now, the Police Commissioner, Mick Fuller, is saying and standing by the fact that that will not happen. It's happened, saying that he guarantees the town's safety and says that people won't overwhelm the hospitals because he'll spread any potential crewmen across the region. A lot of questions, though, about the health policy on this one. And remember when the ship first pulled in March 19, the policy of New South Wales Health was to get them off and get them off fast. Well, now it looks as though it's completely 180 degrees the other way. It's to keep them on board and not let them go anywhere. And New South Wales was struggling to explain that concept this morning. Here's a small part of the exchange we had with New South Wales Health Officer Dr. Jeremy McNulty. Now it seems that the policy is completely flipped. Keep them on as long as possible. Why the change?
Look, I'll have to defer to the police investigation. So I will defer to the police
but it's your
investigation
advice, so
about that.
We need to know what advice you're giving them.
Yeah. But that will be part of that investigation. So.
Well, one thing it does give the police is an advantage that those passengers, those crewmen, will still be on board. Of course, the investigation to begin straight away by the homicide squad, no less. And Mick Fuller saying yesterday that there were potentially thousands of witnesses in this investigation. I hate to be blunt, but sadly we have one bit of bad news to break this afternoon. One less witness, if you like. Another man confirmed, pronounced dead in WA, who was a passenger on board the Ruby Princess this afternoon, an 84-year-old. Anne.
Oh, more sad news there. Chris Reason in Sydney. Thank you, Chris. Former police detective Gary Jubelin has been found guilty of making illegal recordings during the investigation into missing toddler William Tyrrell. The 57-year-old says he's disappointed with the result, but he will respect the decision.
I thought I had a lawful reason to record the conversations. The court has ruled that I don't.
Our reporter Leonie Ryan was in court. She'll have more details a little later in this bulletin. Wage relief will not be extended to casual workers excluded from the government's new JobKeeper scheme. The federal government today ruling it out while finalising the legislation. Live to Olivia Liming in Canberra. Olivia, this is despite pressure from Labor and unions.
Yeah, it is, Anne, though. Ultimately, Labor will pass this $130 billion wage subsidy scheme through the Parliament when it will be approved on Wednesday. But it is still concerned that many casual workers and contract workers will miss out. The government has confirmed the JobKeeper payment of $1,500 a fortnight will only be available for workers who've been with the same employer for at least 1 year. The rest will be forced on to the lesser job seeker payment.
There have to be some definitions and some lines drawn. We think this is a fair and reasonable line.
1 million workers have their circumstances up in the air, and there is still time for this to be fixed.
Olivia, there will be more support for charity workers.
Yeah, charity workers, we've learned today, will be able to access that JobKeeper payment if their organisation's revenue has dropped at least 15%, helping some of the 1.3 million Australians who work for a registered charity. But welfare groups want that threshold to be even lower and exclude grants given to charities, as they argue they are often tied to certain funding for certain projects, warning that many charity workers could still miss out. And
Olivia Leeming in Canberra. Thank you, Olivia. There are fresh concerns for the British Prime Minister, who's now in a London hospital 10 days after testing positive for coronavirus. Boris Johnson is still dealing with symptoms, including a temperature, and is having routine tests on the advice of his doctor. Johnson remains in charge of the government, but the Foreign Secretary is expected to chair a meeting about COVID-19 in the morning. Staying in the UK, and the Queen has delivered a rare speech about the pandemic, just the 5th Commonwealth address in her 68-year reign. As Europe Bureau Chief Hugh Whitfeld reports, the royal appearance was used to thank frontline health workers and rally the nation.
A rare address from the Queen at Windsor Castle.
I'm speaking to you at what I know is an increasingly challenging time. A time of disruption in the life of our country. A disruption that has brought grief to some, financial difficulties to many, and enormous changes to the daily lives of us all.
Her Majesty acknowledging the hardship and loss inflicted by the virus, praising medical staff and the way Britons have thanked them.
The moments when the United Kingdom has come together to applaud its care and essential workers will be remembered as an expression of our national spirit. And its symbol will be the rainbows drawn by children. I hope in the years to come, everyone will be able to take pride in how they responded to this challenge. And those who come after us will say the Britons of this generation were as strong as any.
Royal broadcasts like this are exceptionally rare. Elizabeth's first was as a princess, alongside her sister Margaret in 1940 during the Second World War.
We as children spoke from here at Windsor to children who had been evacuated from their homes and sent away for their own safety. Today, once again, many will feel a painful sense of separation from their loved ones.
But there was, too, a message of hope.
We will succeed, and that success will belong to every one of us. Better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
The Queen at 94, of course, is in a high-risk group for coronavirus. Just one cameraman was in a large room at Windsor Castle where they practiced social distancing while recording that, and that cameraman was wearing full protective gear.
Ireland's Prime Minister has joined the coronavirus fight, announcing he'll work as a doctor 1 day a week. Leo Varadkar has re-registered as a medical practitioner. He was a doctor for 7 years before entering politics. The 41-year-old won't come in contact with patients, instead conducting phone assessments of those who may have the deadly virus. Starting today, our supermarket giants are introducing strict new social distancing measures as they gear up for a very busy Easter period. Peter Fegan has been following the story. Peter, what's been the message from the major chains?
Well, Anne, get in early but be sensible. That's the very clear message from the supermarket chains today, just days out from the Easter break. Shoppers are being warned that despite coronavirus restrictions on what people can and can't do over the holiday break, it still will be a very busy shopping period. But again, today they've reassured the public that there is plenty to go around and there is no reason to panic buy.
7 weeks ago, where we were seeing huge unprecedented demand in key products, that has definitely calmed over the last couple of weeks.
Stores right across the country will implement strict new social distancing measures to ensure people abide by the rules during the busy periods. There will now be a limit on the number of shoppers allowed in store at any one time. Designating waiting areas will be set up outside the stores and staff will count the number of customers coming in and out. Larger stores will have a maximum capacity of just 200 people, smaller stores less than 100. and police will also be on patrol.
So the door greeter actually counts in via an app that we've got on a mobile phone. They count in the customers.
Limits on the number of items you can buy, such as packets of pasta and toilet paper, still apply. So too does Community Hour for the elderly, and online shopping is available to both the elderly and vulnerable. But again, Anne, to reiterate the message from the supermarket chains today, that is to get in early but to be sensible, and there is plenty to go around.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Disgraced Cardinal George Pell will soon learn whether his appeal against child sex abuse convictions has been successful. Australia's High Court will hand down its judgment tomorrow morning to a near-empty Brisbane courtroom. The 78-year-old is trying to overturn a 6-year sentence for sexually abusing 2 choir boys at St Patrick's Cathedral in Melbourne in the 1990s. And 7 News will bring you that verdict as it breaks tomorrow. Meteorologist Eva Brown joins us now. Afternoon, Brownie. Looks like a beautiful day.
It's been an absolute cracker, Anne. Yes, fine, mild and generally sunny conditions. At the moment, behind me, you can see we've got some fair weather cumulus cloud just bubbling away. But as we go to the latest radar, we're keeping an eye on this southerly change that's been powering up the coast. It is generating some isolated showers sitting offshore. We might pick up the odd coastal shower a little later this evening. And again tomorrow morning, as yes, a burst of showery weather is expected to unfold midweek. Some reasonable falls are likely Wednesday and Thursday, potentially up to 10 millimetres across the metro area. Early tomorrow morning, this is the forecast for your Tuesday. Cloudy first thing, of course, some light showers at first, then clearing to a fine, although somewhat cool and cloudy sort of a day. At the moment, let's have a look at current temperatures. You'll notice it's sitting on 23 degrees in Penrith. Bankstown is 24, up the coast in Gosford, a little bit cooler, 21 degrees. Local forecast in detail and top of the hour.
See you then, Brownie. Still to come in Sydney's afternoon news on 7. He led us through the bushfire crisis. Now the RFS Commissioner is taking on a new challenge. Details next. Plus, radiation levels spike as a fire breaks out near Chernobyl. And free-to-roam elephants, the latest animals to take over deserted streets.
In this time of uncertainty, you need the latest facts.
Testing for COVID-19 expanded.
That's why every night, the latest answers your critical questions.
Who did the cover-up, why, and when?
What's developing?
More than 1 million people have tested positive.
Get the latest from 7 News every night.
Eclipse Chewy Mint?
Thanks.
You look fresher.
Don't be ridiculous.
Eclipse Chewy Mints.
Special K. Rise with us. Rise with protein for muscle. Rise with iron for energy. Set goals, then kick them. Special K, powering you.
While we're all parked for a while, Lexus isn't. We're still committed to anticipating your needs. So we're here for you, because us putting you first and you counting on us is more important now than ever.
At Terry White ChemMart, we're here to help this winter with expert advice from masterclass trained pharmacists and a huge range of pharmacy-only cold and flu products. Get real winter defence at Terry White ChemMart. Now that's real chemistry.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Come on, everyone!
Donate some of your data to kids who need it most and power their potential.
Here at Set for Life, celebrating winners is a full-time job. Because our Division 1 winners don't just win once.
Yes, Gary!
They win $20,000 every month for 20 years.
Carol? Yep,
It's 20K day!
Congratulations, you've won!
Breathe!
Eclipse is pretty busy. Set for Life, it's 20K on replay.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Get 60 months interest-free now at Harvey Norman and receive a bonus gift card. The more you spend using interest-free, the greater the value of the bonus gift card, up to $300. Get what you need now with great deals across a huge range of furniture and bedding. Get 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. The more you spend using interest-free, the greater the value of the bonus gift card, up to $300. Limited time only, now at Harvey Norman.
Right now at Target, get 20% off toys from these big brands like Lego, Nerf, Barbie, Fisher-Price and more. Now on at Target. Offer ends April 26 in selected stores and online. Conditions apply.
You're watching 7's 4 p.m. Sydney News. This is the view from Penrith, where right now it's 23 degrees. He led New South Wales through a catastrophic bushfire season. Now, Rural Fire Service Commissioner Shane Fitzsimmons is stepping down from the top job. Live to Evan Batten at RFS headquarters. Hello, Evan. He's set to lead a new crisis agency.
And there's simply no way they were going to let him go. He was, as you say, due to retire after 12 years as Commissioner, having steered the state through one of the most devastating and destructive bushfire seasons. Some 5.4 million hectares burnt across 240 days. We lost 2,400 homes, but worst of all, Anne, as you know, 25 people lost their lives. So when he announced to the Premier that he wanted to step down as Chief, they set up this new agency, Resilience New South Wales. He will now report direct to the Premier. When he spoke earlier today about his decision, he shared that it was quite a difficult decision to decide to retire.
The right decisions, the important decisions, are often the most difficult. And when you add to that a longevity of an organisation, which is very much like an extended family, it was tough. But it's the right thing to do. I genuinely believe in this role we can leverage off all the existing resources of government. We can improve the way we manage and deliver services to the community of New South Wales.
Now, Anne, he will take up the role as Commissioner of Resilience New South Wales next month. In the meantime, the handover to the incoming Commissioner, his former deputy and lifelong friend, Rob Rogers. Anne?
Evan Batten reporting. Thank you, Evan. There's been a spike in radiation levels in the restricted zone around Chernobyl due to a large forest fire. More than 100 firefighters have managed to contain the blaze, which has burnt through 100 hectares of land. The fire was burning within the exclusion zone, established after the world's worst nuclear accident. The zone is largely unpopulated, although about 200 people have remained there despite orders to leave. Pope Francis has marked a surreal Palm Sunday in a near-empty basilica. The service, beginning Holy Week, typically attracts thousands to the Vatican. This year it was attended by about 24 people, including aides, nuns and a smaller choir. Jerusalem service was also scaled back due to coronavirus. The traditional Palm Sunday procession was cancelled. Instead, a small group of Roman Catholic faithful took to the streets to hand out olive branches. Streets in central Moscow have been left deserted after strict lockdown measures were introduced. Workers have been spraying disinfectant on eerily empty streets to try and control the coronavirus spread. Residents are only allowed to leave their homes to buy food or medicine nearby, get urgent treatment, walk the dog or take out rubbish. A herd of elephants has taken a stroll in southern India. Residents in lockdown are staying indoors, leaving the streets free for inquisitive animals. Nearly a dozen of the heavy beasts walk freely on the empty roads as stunned locals watched on from their homes. Next in 7's afternoon news, desperate times, terrifying scenes as a robber storms a Sydney chemist. How a fire in a pub quickly turned isolation into evacuation. And in sport, Socceroos legend Mark Viduka's scathing criticism of football bosses.
Tonight on 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
A bombshell verdict for a former top cop. Danger Docs, new concerns over the deadly Ruby Princess and how you can get cash back during the crisis.
Tonight on 7 News at 6. Living, working, schooling, all from home. getting the balance to work and make the most of this challenging situation. Sunrise tomorrow.
An important coronavirus update from the Australian Government. Always practice good hygiene. Social distancing saves lives. You must stay 2 arms lengths away from others even if you are healthy. Only leave home when necessary. If directed to self-isolate, you must stay home and avoid physical contact with others. Coronavirus. Stop the spread. Stay up to date. Download the app. Visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
Home for Easter means buns and fun. All day to play. Keeping fit. Everyone doing their bit. Hidden places and smiling faces. It also means 250 to 270 gram Cadbury large bunnies, now just $3.75 each. That's half price. And Cadbury Easter Hunt Crate, 170 gram pack of 10, now also just $3.75 each. That's half price too. This year, more than ever, have a safe and happy Easter.
What if you're missing information that could affect your child's future? Like important information about meningococcal disease. A rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents. Missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more. Speak to your doctor for more information on meningococcal disease and how you can help protect your family.
How safe are those things? Shame.
Nothing spoils that Toyota value feeling. Get Hilux 4x4 SR5 Auto. Drive away from $54,990. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
Zimmer latte?
Loving you is easy. Loving you is oh so comfortable. Loving you is never unsettles me. Loving you is makes me feel healthy. Loving you is never a pain in the guts.
Fresh, natural Zimmel. The easy-to-digest milk. You'll love Zimmel because Zimmel loves you.
A man has held up a Sydney chemist with a replica gun in a move staff say was a sign of desperate times. Laura Banks was in court and has more details on this frightening attack.
Well, good afternoon. Well, Arthur Owazi will remain behind bars, not making an application for bail here at Central Local Court. He's accused of a brazen robbery at a Burwood pharmacy last night. It was about 5:45 yesterday when it's alleged Owazi entered the chemist on Burwood Road armed with a fake gun, approaching the counter and threatening staff while demanding money. The 2 women refused to open the safe before fleeing the store and calling police. Owazi is alleged to have pocketed significant cash but left the drugs behind before casually leaving the store and heading to the train station.
I've watched the surveillance over and over again. The ladies were like amazing, very, very brave.
Through Transport Security Vision, officers tracked Owazi to Redfern, where he was arrested.
This is a wake-up call not just to the pharmacists, but I guess any industry that is 1, operational and 2, holds something of need, cash, drugs.
Owazi's case will be back in court in June.
Firefighters have battled a fierce blaze at an old pub in Newcastle, forcing nearby residents in self-isolation to flee. Crews were called to the abandoned hotel last night after reports of an explosion. About 40 firefighters eventually managed to bring the blaze under control, with more than 100 people evacuated to a nearby park. Fire and Rescue say there were concerns for 2 people who'd been in self-isolation. They've been taken to hospital. Time for sport with Mel McLaughlin. Hello, Mel. There's a lot of confidence growing in rugby league.
Hello, Anne. Yeah, there is. The immediate future of the NRL will be decided at a meeting of the ARL Commission in just over a fortnight. Commission member Wayne Pearce and Roosters coach Trent Robinson are on the committee formed to plan the restart. They believe it can happen by late May, and Robinson says teams will need as little as 2 weeks to be ready in time.
Let's experiment with stuff that we would never do, that we would never actually try. Let's offer a great product. Let's get out there on a world stage and offer the game of rugby league.
They plan to adopt the strict biosecurity measures that have allowed horse racing to continue during the pandemic. Socceroos legend Mark Viduka has savaged the people running the game in this country. In a rare interview from his home in Croatia, where he now runs a cafe, the champion striker didn't mince his words when asked about Football Federation Australia.
You have people running football in Australia who don't have a clue about football, and they don't want to get older players involved who actually have that experience.
The 44-year-old also singled out former captain Lucas Neal for criticism. He says Neal undermined him during his time as Australian skipper. Steve O'Keefe says he's ashamed of the off-field incidents that blighted his Test career. 2 alcohol-fuelled incidents limited the 35-year-old's Test career to just 9 matches, but he's grateful just to have donned the baggy green.
I've, had a couple of chances. A few blokes have dropped things, and I've been able to have the career that I've had. So, looking back, I'm so bloody fortunate.
O'Keefe has retired from first-class cricket after failing to earn a new contract with New South Wales. During the coronavirus-enforced lockdown, many of our athletes are using their spare time to give back. With her Olympic dream on hold until next year, our top gymnast, Georgia Godwin, has volunteered to teach children online.
It was really sad seeing all the kids at home, not sure.
At 7. You'll be renovating.
Look. This
has ever seen. Welcome to High Stakes. Starts tonight at 7 on 7.
Chief?
So, have you had the jab?
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Then we wouldn't have to wait so long. Wouldn't it be nice to live together in the kind of world where we belong? Wouldn't it be nice?
Hey, did you know you can get crunchy chips from the microwave in 4 minutes?
How'd you know that?
I read it on the box. I always bring something to read at the beach.
Wow!
Yeah, just finished A Tale of Two Chippies. 1 crinkle cut, 1 shoestring in a story of forbidden love.
Spoilers! Microwave chips with maximum crunch.
Golden Crunch.
Bird's eye.
Everything you love about a Subaru meets the effortless efficiency of hybrid. Introducing the self-charging hybrid, the next generation of Subaru.
How's that for serenity?
Can care be better at home?
Oh, it's sanctuary. Your home's a bit of a sanctuary. Yeah, for me, rehab at home, it gave me a huge amount of flexibility to be able to do the things I wanted to do. It allowed me to unstress and be in the moment in your house in your own comfort zone, which was really good for me and my state of mind.
Search Medibank at Home to see how we're creating better choices for our members.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
This is 7 Sydney Afternoon News with Anne Sanders.
Former Detective Gary Jubelin has been found guilty of illegally recording a witness over the disappearance of North Coast boy William Tyrrell. He'll be sentenced later this week on charges that carry jail time. Leonie Ryan was in court.
Good afternoon. Well, after a 2-week local court trial, Gary Jubelin has been found to have illegally recorded a person of interest while in charge of the William Tyrrell investigation. It centred around 4 recordings he made with Paul Savage in 2017 and 2018.
I'm not even...
Jubelin had focused his attentions on the 75-year-old recluse who was subject to legal surveillance warrants at the time, but these recordings made by Jubelin were not lawful because they were done on his mobile phone.
I thought I had a lawful reason to record the conversations. The court has ruled that I don't.
Now Jubelin will be sentenced at a later date but faces the possibility of 5 years in jail.
The Ruby Princess cruise ship crisis has claimed another life. An 84-year-old from Western Australia is the 12th person to die from coronavirus caught on board. The man died in a Perth hospital overnight as anger grows over the handling of the debacle. The vessel has finally docked at Port Kembla with more than 1,000 crew on board. Up to 200 of them are showing COVID-19 symptoms. Premier Gladys Berejiklian admitting the handling of the ship went horribly wrong. Live to Miley Hogan, one of the virus hotspots. Hello, Miley. What do we know about the latest victims?
Good afternoon, and well, both victims were men and they were in their 80s. They passed away in Liverpool Hospital overnight. One was an 86-year-old man who was a resident at Opal Care in Bankstown. That aged care facility has now been associated with 5 cases, 3 staff members and 2 other residents. Now, the death toll in New South Wales sits at 18. There are now 2,637 cases of coronavirus statewide and 57 new cases diagnosed in the last 24 hours. Health authorities have labelled that figure as hopeful. They say that the social distancing measures, they're hoping that those are working, but they're asking people to stick to it, saying it's too early to make any definite decisions on that. Now, it comes as health authorities released a list of areas that they are calling hotspots.
So these areas are Broken Hill, Lake Macquarie, Manning, Waverley, Wallara, Ryde, Macquarie Park, Dee Why, Manly, Nowra, South Nowra, Byron and Port Macquarie. So as an added precaution, we want to make sure that we have access to testing in those areas where there may be some local transmission.
They have now actually relaxed the testing criteria in those areas. Anyone with a cough, fever, sore throat can walk up to one of those clinics and get tested. Here in Bondi, they've set up a drive-through clinic. It is free, it's easy. You drive up, they swipe your throat and your nose, and then they will contact you to let you know if you are positive. It's all about diagnosing those cases as soon as possible and getting people into isolation. Anne.
All right, Marley, thank you very much. The US is expected to endure the peak of the coronavirus pandemic in the days ahead. Residents there are being warned to prepare for one of the hardest and saddest weeks of their lives. That as Australians from stranded cruise ships begin their journey home. Ash Mullaney reports.
Good afternoon. The nation's top doctor delivered a stark warning to Americans that the coming days will resemble Pearl Harbor. As the number of cases climbs above 300,000, the deaths edging closer to 10,000. Speaking from the White House this evening, the President walked a fine line between recognising the severity of the crisis but speaking of light at the end of the tunnel. The pictures from the epicentre in New York tell a story of a healthcare system at breaking point. Medical staff pushed to their limits, the apex just days away or possibly plateauing.
This is going to be the hardest and the saddest week of most Americans' lives, quite frankly. This is going to be our Pearl Harbor moment, our 9/11 moment, only it's not going to be localized. It's going to be happening all over the country, and I want America to understand that.
Across the country, cases are growing from Washington, D.C. to New Orleans and Detroit. In Florida, passengers, including 80 Australians, are slowly disembarking the Coral Princess in Miami, while hundreds of Australians from the ill-fated ships Zaandam and Rotterdam finally started their journey home, a charter flight ferrying them home from San Francisco to Melbourne tonight.
Thank you, Ash. Fuel giant Caltex will temporarily close its only Australian oil refinery as the coronavirus crisis wipes out global fuel demand. The Brisbane facility will shut next month, bringing forward a planned outage for maintenance work. Caltex expects jet fuel demand will drop 80 to 90% because of flight restrictions. The supplier has also seen a fall in retail petrol demand of 30 to 50%. Positive news on Australia's handling of the coronavirus crisis appears to be reflected in the local market. Live now to Network Finance Editor Gemma Acton. Hello, Gemma. We've seen this before. Can investors start to believe in a market recovery?
Well, Anne, it was a strong day today. The market got off on the right foot and just marched higher throughout the day, ending about 4.3% higher. But yes, I think it would be premature to say at this stage that we're out of the woods. What we saw today as well was dozens of companies added to the ones who have withdrawn their profit guidance. They're saying, look, the outlook is just too murky to know how our earnings will be. The implication is, of course, what happens to dividends. There are suspicions that many dividends are going to be either suspended or cut entirely. And the fear is that once we understand better how dividends are going to be impacted, that we could see the share market start to fall again to reflect those lower dividends.
Gemma, Flight Centre has today unveiled its plan to survive this coronavirus crisis.
Yes, Anne, a very comprehensive plan. They're saying they could save around $1.9 billion a year from their cost base. Firstly, they've managed to raise $200 million of debt and are looking to raise $700 million of equity. They are also closing 428 of their Australian stores. And as we know, they've already stood down 3,800 Australian workers and more still overseas. They're also seeking to renegotiate rent on those stores that they are keeping open and also trying to sell the Melbourne headquarters. The shares have now been in a trading halt since the 19th of March and they remain there and will do so until at least Wednesday. But big changes certainly underway for now, Anne.
Gemma Acton reporting. Thanks a lot, Gemma. Frontline healthcare workers may soon have another weapon in the fight against COVID-19. Melbourne scientists are developing a test that will identify who is immune and who's most at risk if they contract the deadly illness. Jodie Lee explains.
Researchers here at the Burnett Institute are developing a unique weapon in the fight against coronavirus. Currently, we only have a test to determine who is infected with COVID-19. But this team has found a unique way to determine who is infectious, who is immune, who is likely to suffer serious symptoms, and who could only develop a mild form of the illness.
To test it, we need to examine patients who are convalescent, so who have recovered from the infection. And of course, we now have cases in Australia, but we're trying to get samples from.
In a week or so, these researchers will receive blood samples from infected patients in epicentres across the world: Italy, China and New York. It will take just 2 hours for scientists to break down and understand the patient's immunity.
There are indications that certain types of immunoglobulins or antibodies really drive inflammation, whereas other types dampen it. So that could be a difference.
The test won't prevent people from falling ill, but it could keep vital healthcare workers on the front line. By knowing how susceptible they are to this virus, hospitals will be better able to manage and protect their teams.
Thanks, Jodie. The challenge of keeping the homeless healthy is on the agenda in New South Wales. A program is underway aiming to bring people off the street at a time we're all being told to stay indoors. Healthcare workers say the homeless are vulnerable to complications from the illness.
The worry is that the virus could potentially transmit to a number of people who are experiencing homelessness.
7 News has exclusive details of the initiative tonight at 6. A 21-year-old man has pleaded guilty to coughing in the face of a police officer at Bondi Beach, leading to a coronavirus scare. As Natasha Squarey reports, he's been released by police after testing negative for the virus.
Good afternoon. Well, the 21-year-old spent the night in police cells here at Surrey Hills after he was arrested at Bondi Beach yesterday morning for coughing in the face of a police officer during an arrest, sparking a coronavirus scare. Clayton Eade went against orders to go onto the popular strip of sand around 9 a.m, and he also ignored warnings from lifeguards. Police were called and ordered Eade to leave, but when he refused, he was put under arrest. During the attempt to get him into handcuffs, Eade coughed at police, admitting he said, "I don't have coronavirus." The 21-year-old was charged overnight with a string of offences, including resist arrest and intimidation. This afternoon, he faced a magistrate and pleaded guilty to all charges, saying he only went to Bondi Beach because that's where he spread his late mother's ashes. It's also been confirmed he doesn't have the virus.
Why did you cough in that police officer's face?
Because he was not 1.5 metres away.
Eid was sentenced to an 8-month intensive corrections order and an 18-month good behaviour bond. He was also slapped with $300 in fines, and for the next 3 months, he must stay away from Bondi Beach.
Still ahead on 7's afternoon news, fighting the hidden dangers of isolation, important health advice for the body and mind. Plus, special delivery, the State Minister giving a helping hand to those in need. And it's 18 degrees in Bondi. Brownie will have Sydney's forecast soon.
Hello, Joanna Griggs here from Better Homes and Gardens.
Hello there, Mark Ferguson from 7 News.
These are scary times.
We're all experiencing the same feelings.
Stay safe, stay well.
Because if you look after yourself, you look after others.
We really are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Keep a smile on our face.
We'll pull together and get out of this.
We are in this together and we're going to get through it.
What's happening now, Detective?
They're still there. You would have thought they'd moved out by now. Got themselves a little unit somewhere.
Call us today to find out more about a reverse mortgage from Heartland. Heartland Seniors Finance.
Maltesers, the lighter way to enjoy chocolate.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
Hyundai Kona. Way more fun than your car.
I love you.
Thank you.
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
In these challenging times, we know how important it is to keep you and your community up to date. So we're giving you 4 weeks free digital access to news you can trust. Search Daily Telegraph offer.
I like my underwear like I like my martinis. Dry. That's why Poise pads absorb 2 times more than you may need and are 5 times drier than leading period pads. You got protection, you got Poise.
At Terry White Chemmart, we are here to help this winter with our exclusive cold and flu day and night 72 value pack at just $15.99. High quality and everyday low prices. Now that's real chemistry at Terry White Chemmart.
With Ryobi One Plus U equals anything you can imagine. In fact, one battery powers over 100 tools. So One Plus U equals endless possibilities. Blower kit, $1.99, available at Bunnings Warehouse.
To help ensure our continued support of the national economy during these difficult times, BHP is hiring 1,500 new workers to assist in our ongoing Australian operations. For more information, visit bhp.com/vital resources.
Tonight, television's most inspiring home reveals. House Rules High Stakes starts tonight at 7 on 7.
Being cooped up inside for too long can be harmful for both your mental and physical health. Dietitians are worried a lack of exercise and emotional or boredom eating could make things even worse, as Tristan Varias reports.
Thousands right across the country are going through one of the toughest times they'll ever face. Job losses, financial and relationship stress. Dietitians are worried that unhealthy food choices and a lack of exercise could make matters worse. In supermarkets across the country, cake, muffin and brownie mixes are emptying off the shelves. Some stuck at home are curing their boredom with baking.
We don't know how long this is going to last for, and we're not wanting to develop bad behaviours over months and months that then become really, really catastrophic to our health in the long term.
On the other hand, plenty of people are out and about working up a sweat more than usual, all the while keeping their social distance.
We are exercising a lot at the moment because it gives us something to do and a chance to get out of the house.
But for seniors like Merv and Marlene Gibson, leaving the house is not advised. So to keep active, they're treating their chores like workouts.
Keeping the pool clean and go for a swim and wash the cars and cut the grass.
To help at-risk groups further, some are calling for TV programs like Aerobic Oz Style to make a comeback.
1, 2 and a clap. Move it to the back and front again.
If you do love to bake and it's not something you can go without, the advice is to swap the cake mix for a healthier, low-calorie recipe, curing your boredom but not at the expense of your waistline.
Sydney 6 p.m. news is coming up with Mark Ferguson. Hello, Mark. What are you working on in the newsroom?
Yeah, good afternoon. And tonight, the very latest on the Ruby Princess cruise ship, now at the centre of that criminal investigation. It has docked south of Sydney. Today, the desperate mission to get supplies on and sick crew members off, with concerns Wollongong's health system won't cope. New South Wales health authorities are set to expand testing as community transmissions rise. That remains their biggest concern. Where are Sydney's latest hotspots? A man accused of coughing on police at Bondi has been punished for the crime. The Queen has delivered a rare special address offering hope in these troubled times, while the British Prime Minister is in hospital over persistent virus symptoms. We'll cross to London for the latest. And in other news, Gary Jubelin has been found guilty of making illegal recordings during the William Tyrrell investigation. Hear the magistrate's scathing remarks and the former detective's reaction. And comprehensive coverage of the pandemic and plenty more. Sydney 7 News tonight at 6 o'clock.
Thanks, Foucault. See you then. 4:49, so let's check Sydney's traffic.
Good afternoon, it's Marina Ivanovic here in the Sydney Blinds traffic chopper. Traffic looking quite slow through Blacktown this afternoon. We've got a two-car smash for Reservoir Road heading southbound near Cooper Street. As you can see here, it's taking out the left lane. We've got a bit of a spillage as well, so just be careful. Change your blinds with Sydney Blinds and Screens this change of season with massive savings across a huge range. Visit sydneyblinds.com.au for more today, and a friendly reminder to wear gloves when filling up at the petrol station.
For those finding it tough just to get out and about, a surprise delivery of the most basic essentials can go a long way. And for some war veterans and widows, a special care package will help make day-to-day life that little bit easier, as Jess Ridley reports.
Well, you would think after weeks of panic buying at the shops that it may have calmed down enough for some of our vulnerable members in the community to get their hands on basic supplies like toilet paper. But sadly, that is not the case. And we're hearing there are still those finding it hard to access those items. New South Wales Counter-Terrorism and Corrections Minister Anthony Roberts has managed to acquire some 8,000 toilet paper rolls, which he and a team have started distributing to war widows and veterans in his local electorate of Lane Cove in Sydney.
I never thought I would see the day in this nation where we had people that have built this country and fought for this country not having access to a basic sanitary product such as toilet paper. This is a time as a community we need all of us to do our very best to look after those that are in a very vulnerable condition.
This clever video has been put together by a women's football club in South Australia. Now, they stress that no toilet paper was wasted in the making. Delivery drivers and couriers are finding letters of thanks like these strapped to post boxes around the country as part of a new Thank a Postie campaign, recognising the men and women that are still out there making sure we get all our mail orders during this time. We'll have all of this on 7 News at 6.
Thanks, Jess. Next in 7's afternoon news, David Brown will be here with your latest forecast.
Home and Away is back next Monday at 7.
Did you forget your shirt, or are you just trying to get everyone's attention?
What's a girl got to do to get the guy?
A woman can't wait forever.
Try flirting?
Look like a man who'd be good with his hands.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
Try yelling.
I like you! I mean, what's a girl got to do? I just need a different tactic.
Or don't say anything.
Hey. Can't get get rid of me that easily.
We'll have to work harder then.
One approach will work, but which one?
I believe in second chances.
Do you like me too?
Home and Away is back next Monday at 7 on 7.
Having played grand final footy, I know a bit about stress and energy. That's why, when it comes to looking after my body, I believe in being body smart. Nature's Own sleep and energy products support energy production and can help improve the quality of sleep. Be body smart with Nature's Own, available for a great price every day at Chemist Warehouse.
Come and see. Our finest Lindt chocolate is ready for Easter in a very special shape. You can recognise even with your eyes closed.
Because of the bell.
The Lindt Gold Bunny is back in store, but you'll have to be quick to catch him.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you. With contact-free options, you can enjoy all your Macca's favourites delivered to you via the Uber Eats app and Deliveroo.
Doc is an emotional intelligence expert. When it comes to value, Doc likes to pay the right price for the right product. That's why he likes Yui. You can tailor your premium so you pay the right price. Yui, you insured.
Discover your connections to the men and women who served our country. Learn how old they were and the battles they fought. Connect with the people and places that led to you. Start searching for free at ancestry.com.au.
We're there for the surprise. And beneath your grandkids' favourite dinner. Since we lit Australia's first gas street lamp, we've been finding ideas for tomorrow. You can't always see us, yet we're there. The energy within. AGL. Progress for life.
5 to get in 19 seconds, but he's really going to have to motor.
Umpire.
Correct.
Goblin.
Correct.
Hamilton.
Correct.
18.
Dave. Correct. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me is a classic album by which band?
Kiss.
Stop the clock. What'd you say?
The Chase, coming up next on 7.
David's back with the latest forecast. Afternoon, Brownie. How's the week shaping up?
Bit of a mixed bag, Anne, and good afternoon. Looks stunning today. Cooler conditions tomorrow. In fact, today's top, let's have a look at the maximum. There it is, 25.2 degrees. That's a couple of degrees above average, and that happened during lunch, 14 minutes past 1 this afternoon at Observatory Hill. Around that state at the moment, quite cool, especially at places like Orange. It's only 13 degrees. Canberra, clear skies, 18 degrees. Warm as we head north towards the northeast corner. Sunshine in Lismore at the moment, and 24 degrees. The latest satellite data highlights this southerly that's pushing all the way up the coast. The coldest area is, in fact, right through here at the moment. The airstream is expected at 10 southeasterly tomorrow. Why? The front's heading now towards New Zealand. Pressure's starting to rise. You can see that southeasterly airstream becoming established. Just isolated light showers affecting parts of the north and central coast tomorrow. Not a lot of rain, just a millimetre or two. For the capitals, it should be generally fine in Brisbane. In fact, a mostly sunny day. Forecast high around 27 degrees. Melbourne, cold and cloudy. Only 16 tomorrow. For Perth, sharp contrast. Yes, another burst of summer-like heat. Clear skies and a top of 34 degrees. For our city, cool tomorrow and a forecast top of 22 degrees. A light shower or two is expected first thing, then a cloudy day to follow. Let's look further ahead now to our 7-day outlook. Cloudy on Wednesday, a little light rain at times. Showers clearing Thursday, fine Friday and fine across the weekend. That's the latest weather. More at 6 a.m.
All right, Brownie, thanks a lot. And that's Sydney's 4 p.m. news for this Monday. Mark Ferguson will bring you 7 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Ann Sanders. Stay with 7 now for The Chase, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
Just imagine.
Oh my God.
Oh. You walk in and your whole house is fully renovated.
Oh, have a look at this.
So beautiful.
But to earn your dream, first, you have to do this.
You're about to take on the biggest challenge ever. Look up.
It's right in front of you.
The stakes are sky high. To earn your spot in this competition, you'll be renovating the penthouse of this iconic building.
Is that a pool?
It is huge.
Buildings don't intimidate us. We intimidate them.
This season is a monster.
Bigger reveals.
Could go bang on the cover of a glossy magazine.
Bigger emotion.
You okay?
Is this even our house?
The biggest renovations that TV has ever seen.
Look at this view.
They wanted luxury and glamour. You got luxury and glamour.
The rules have changed. Welcome to High Stakes. Only on 7. It's here. Tonight at 7.
These 4 strangers must